Soon it will be 2025, also known as the year Nintendo finally pulls back the curtain on its next console. After 2024 was filled with shaky rumors, alleged leaks, and nonstop speculation about the Nintendo Switch successor, we know for a fact Nintendo will share more about the next generation in less than 100 days. If that's not exciting enough for you, the Nintendo Switch still has a few cards up its sleeve, and 2025 will finally see the launch of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond 8 years after its initial announcement. And as always, there will surely be some surprises along the way, with some possibly tied to a certain plumber's 40th anniversary. Here's what to expect from Nintendo in 2025.
There we go!
Before we get into Switch 2, let's recap what we already know is coming to Switch in 2025. Nintendo has been incredibly consistent at publishing a Switch game most months for the last 2 years. And while I'm not sure they'll keep up that pace to the same degree in 2025, we already know about a fair number of games coming in the next few months. January 16th marks the release of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, a remaster of the 2010 Wii platformer that includes the extra levels from the 2013 3DS port. That's right, this is the third time Nintendo is selling us Country Returns, and it's now been more than a decade since the last original Donkey Kong Country game, with Tropical Freeze's launch on Wii U. Hopefully Donkey Kong's recent inclusion in Nintendo's movies and theme parks will eventually result in a brand new video game, but for now, you're getting Country Returns again, and you better like it. As someone who's bought and played both previous versions, it really is a fantastic platformer and one worth trying if you've never played it before. We're getting another HD remaster on March 20th, but this one is much more exciting. After years of fan demand, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is finally landing on Switch, meaning the entire Xenoblade Chronicles series will be available in one place. X is the odd one out in the series. It's not directly tied to the trilogy, and it was doomed to originally release on Wii U back in 2015, so this second chance at life will be many players' first chance to dive into this enormous open-world RPG. The visually enhanced Definitive Edition also adds brand new story content longtime fans will surely dissect and theorize about for years to come.
Fancy seeing you here.
Right now, those are the only firm release dates we have for Nintendo in 2025, but there are a few huge games coming sometime in the coming months. That includes Pokemon Legends ZA, Game Freak's return to the Legends sub-series after Arceus successfully shook things up in 2022. We still know very little about what Legends ZA will entail, other than it centers around an urban development plan in the Kalos region's Lumiose City from Pokemon X and Y, and the Generation 6's Mega Evolution is set to return in some way. Pokemon took a much-needed year off last year, so it's exciting to see what Legends ZA will look like after taking a bit more time in the oven. One big third-party Nintendo Switch exclusive worth shouting out is Professor Leighton and the New World of Steam, which is scheduled for release sometime in 2025. It's the big return of Professor Leighton and his assistant Luke after more than a decade out of the spotlight. I'm hopeful it will actually make it out on time. Level 5 has been a bit too eager to announce release windows before games are actually ready, but whenever this finally comes out, it will be an exciting return for a series that's always been heavily associated with Nintendo. The final TBA 2025 game on Nintendo's calendar right now is the long-awaited Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. First announced at E3 2017, Prime 4 was MIA for years before its re-reveal at June's Nintendo Direct. Prime 4 is coming from Retro Studios, developers of the original Metroid Prime trilogy, and it features the return of Sylux, a villain first introduced in the Nintendo DS spin-off Metroid Prime Hunters. The most recent trailer is absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to see how the full adventure shapes up later this year. Enough messing around, let's get into what you're all here for, the Nintendo Switch successor. Last May, Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa revealed that Nintendo would make an announcement about the Nintendo Switch successor within this fiscal year. Nintendo's fiscal year ends on March 31st, meaning we're expecting an official unveiling sometime within the next 90 days or so. Other than Nintendo's recent confirmation that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the Switch 2, the company has been very quiet about what the console will actually be like. However, March might not be the end of the story. It's possible we will get a quick teaser trailer before the end of this fiscal year, similar to the Switch's reveal trailer in October 2016, followed by a full presentation ahead of the official launch. Or Nintendo might tell us everything we want to know right away, which is the best case scenario. Either way, I'm confident we'll get a big presentation at some point this year with all the answers we're looking for. Last time, Nintendo held a big in-person event in Japan to properly unveil the Switch, which was broadcast live around the world. I'm expecting a slightly different strategy this time. I think Nintendo will stick to its pre-recorded Nintendo Direct-style presentation to show the successor off. But I think the information presented will be largely the same, where Nintendo will likely share information on the following: the name, the release date, the price, the launch day and launch window game lineup, specifications, and unique features. As for what those console details will actually be, your guess is as good as mine. But I can almost guarantee the Switch successor will launch before the end of 2025, as I don't see a world where Nintendo announces it as early as March and waits until 2026 to release it. And I'm personally expecting the Switch successor to be very iterative of Nintendo Switch, maintaining the hybrid design that made it such a global success. A new console means new games, and Nintendo is definitely cooking up a big lineup for the next console's first year. Not counting projects it was a co-developer on, Nintendo's internal development teams only put out one game last year, and that was Splatoon 3's Side Order DLC. It's clearly been full steam ahead on Switch 2 games for a while, and I'm expecting some heavy hitters at launch and in the first year of Switch 2. We are well overdue for a new 3D Mario because it's been nearly 8 years since Super Mario Odyssey. That was the last brand new 3D Mario, apart from Bowser's Fury, which was a bite-sized expansion added onto 3D World's Switch release in 2021. I'm confident Nintendo is setting up the next 3D Mario to be the Switch successor's must-have game at launch to get all of the hardcore Nintendo fans to snap up the new console right away. And it just so happens that 2025 is the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. And given how big Nintendo went for the 35th anniversary, I think it's a safe bet that Mario will be front and center at the next console launch. But what about Mario Kart? We're even more overdue for a brand new Mario Kart, given that it's been 11 years now since Mario Kart 8's original release. Yes, we got 8 Deluxe, Tour, and the Booster Course Pass in the time since, but it's still been way too long since a wholly original home console Mario Kart. I go back and forth between thinking 3D Mario or Mario Kart is the big launch game, but either way, I think we get both before the console's first holiday season. Right now, I'm feeling a 3D Mario at launch is the big single-player showcase game, with Mario Kart coming just a bit later to get families interested in picking the console up over the holidays. As much as everyone loves Mario though, Nintendo will want to diversify its launch lineup beyond its most iconic character. I could see some sort of Zelda remake or remaster in the cards to get that franchise represented as soon as possible on the next hardware, with the two most likely candidates feeling like an Ocarina of Time HD remake or a Breath of the Wild remaster that runs at a solid 60 frames per second.
Wake up, Link.
I'm also expecting Nintendo to unveil some sort of brand new IP to hit the console at launch or shortly after. The Wii had Wii Sports, Wii U had Nintendo Land, and Switch had 1-2 Switch, so there will likely be some sort of casual, family-friendly experience to show off what the new hardware can do. I'm also hopeful that we might get a glimpse of Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai's new mystery game at some point in 2025. Sakurai dropped one of the biggest plot twists of 2024, when he revealed that he prepped his entire YouTube channel in advance, and has been secretly working on a new video game since early 2022.
この企画についてはまだ言えなくて申し訳ないのですが、もしちゃんと作れていれば、いずれ発表されることでしょう。
It's been in development for 3 years now, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that a reveal is planned for sometime this year. It's most likely the next Smash Bros., but I would love to see Sakurai's take on a more niche Nintendo series like Star Fox or F-Zero. Speaking of F-Zero, I wouldn't be surprised if Switch 2 is home to a remaster of F-Zero GX or an entirely new game in the series. Nintendo has been building up hype for the F-Zero series for the last year now, first with the release and continued updates in F-Zero 99, followed by the addition of nearly every game in the series to the Nintendo Switch Online game catalog. I feel like it's accelerating towards something big for the series, and there's almost no better way to show off new, powerful hardware than a gorgeous, futuristic racing game running at a perfect frame rate. All eyes will definitely be on Switch 2 in 2025, but Nintendo will continue to support its 140 million plus Switch 1 install base with new games. We already discussed the Switch games we know are coming in 2025, but there will certainly be more reveals as the year goes on. I'm expecting Kirby to show up on Switch 1 in some way. It's been 2 years since Return to Dreamland Deluxe, either through a remaster of a fan-favorite Kirby like Planet Robobot, or an entirely new game. I also think it could be time for Nintendo to wheel out some of its smaller series, and I've got a feeling in my bad knee that Rhythm Heaven could finally make its Switch debut this year, in a similar fashion to Rhythm Heaven Megamix showing up on 3DS after the Switch was already out. Luigi's Mansion 3 developers Next Level Games have put out a new Nintendo game every 3 years since 2013. The studio's last full game was Mario Strikers Battle League in 2022, meaning 2025 is the year for its next project if this development cycle pattern is to continue. It could be time for Luigi's Mansion 4 on the Switch successor, but given how much Mario I already think is in the cards for this year, I could also see this game getting unveiled at some point for a release sometime in 2026. While I definitely think some studios will continue developing games for the older Switch hardware, I firmly expect to see Next Level Games' new project on the next console and wouldn't be shocked if we get a glimpse of it sometime soon. Finally, Nintendo is much more than a video game company at this point, and it has some solid entertainment plans lined up for 2025. Super Nintendo World is set to open in Florida this May, and it includes the Donkey Kong Country expansion that's currently exclusive to Universal Studios Japan.
Donkey Kong! ドンキーコングが来てくれました。元気にしてた?
And Nintendo is opening its second stateside retail store when Nintendo San Francisco opens at Union Square sometime this year. The second Super Mario Bros. Movie is scheduled to hit theaters in April 2026, so I'm guessing we'll get the first trailer for the sequel sometime before the year is up too.
Hey-o! Hey-o! Oh, it's the Super Mario Brothers from the TV.
And that's everything we expect from Nintendo in 2025. Are you ready for the Switch 2, or are you still excited about the Switch 1 games we know about? Let us know in the comments, and for everything else Nintendo, stick with IGN.